Hi, Joe.
Hi.
Looks like it's just us thus far.
So far. So your name is Erica with a K, a C and a K.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm German, so Erica is usually in German, it's with a C only. So
Oh, yeah. It's blame my parents for that one.
oh yeah, well it's fine. It's just different, that's all.
Yeah. I've only met two others
Two other
with a
Ericas?
with a C and a K.
Oh, the C and a K, yeah, right. Right. Yeah. When I came over from Germany, I was 6 years old. I
Oh
came with
yeah.
my father and my mom had died in Germany, so it was just him and me. And I moved in with his sister in the Bronx in New York, and my two cousins, Gertrude and Erica.
Hi, Sam.
Hi.
Hi. How are you? How you doing
Good.
tonight?
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
There's Jeremy. Hi, Jeremy. Oh, he's connecting with audio.
Hi, everyone.
Looks like everybody's just gathering, so I'm gonna give people a few minutes. I know Stephen might not be joining us, and my dog might be barking, so I'm gonna go on mute for a couple sometimes in mid-sentence. And this and Phil is out of the country, so he's at a wedding, so I thought that was a good enough excuse.
Sure.
I hope everybody is okay with the flood situation.
We have two buildings that were pretty damaged.
Oh no.
Two of the units are completely uninhabitable right now. The water is so high that it came through the bedroom windows in one of the units.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty bad.
Good.
And I think I know that there's a lot of landlords that don't have flood insurance based upon where their properties are or what their financing position is on the property. And I know that just the one building, I'm probably looking at around $75,000 in damages.
Wow.
How are the tenants?
What?
How are the tenants?
So one of the tenants has some medical issues and some mental health challenges. And I knew that was going to be pretty difficult for her to be at the BOR. So I worked with her case manager and we actually got her a bed up at home intervention. So she is safe and she is well supported at the moment. And then the other tenants, they are staying in a hotel right now. The other two units in that building, we were able to restore power to on a temporary basis, and so they're fine. They went a couple days without hot water, but other than that, they've been okay. But I think that there's a lot of units that are going to be lost completely because of this, that will not be able to be brought back online.
Yeah, I actually was going to go into this, but I think we're looking at another wave of homelessness that we weren't intending on looking at.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And not only that, it's the units that are already, that even I have flood insurance, and I know that the last time that it flooded in July, I did not get a heating system put in until the last week in September. I had to go down with my flood insurance adjuster, and the date of installation on it was September, I think, 29th. And I had flood insurance and I pushed hard to get everything covered. But if that's the time frame that we're looking at, plus all of the backlog that we still have with COVID, I think that we're facing even bigger issues, because that means that there's a lot of people that will not have heat probably well into December. I mean, I know that there's definitely still lingering supply chain issues, and a lot of heating and electrical components are part of that.
Well, not to mention labor, just finding
Oh.
someone to do the work these days.
Yeah, labor is a joke right now. Yeah, it's extremely difficult. I'm fortunate that we have our own crew of my husband and my teenagers, but if we didn't have that, there's no way that we would even be as far in the process to get these units back together as we are.
So sorry to cut you right off there, Sam. So it's 7:03. I'm gonna get this party started. As people know, I like to get my
Yeah.
meeting started on time. I apologize that we are all via Zoom tonight. So 7:03, I'm gonna say we're not exactly a quorum, but some people did say they were going to be out tonight. Stephen said he wasn't going to join, and Phil is out of the country for a wedding. Excusable absences. They got in touch with me well ahead of time. So I'm not sure where the rest of the crew is, but that's okay. We don't have any decisions to make tonight. It's mostly discussion. So I'm going to try to pull up the agenda, and my dog might bark. So please, I apologize ahead of time. This is why I like to be out of the house when I'm doing this. So I am going to call this meeting to order. And are there any adjustments to the agenda? I see shakes of heads. All right. So no adjustments to the agenda. All right. I know we do have Sam on the call for a guest. And she is the only person on the call for a guest. And I'm just gonna leave it that Sam will make public comment as she feels fit. Is that all right with everybody else? I see no, okay. And Sam, are you okay with that? Just interjecting?
Oh, I'm okay with that.
All right. So I was gonna go ahead with that. So did everybody get a chance to read the minutes from the last meeting? See shakes, nods, yes. All right. Again, we really don't, I think we really don't have a quorum, but so I'm gonna have to table the minutes because we have to vote to approve. So I'm gonna table the minutes, sadly. Yeah, I'm gonna have to table those. So moving right along, I like how brisk I am doing this. So last time on the agenda, we had bathrooms and we had a flood. So, but I think the time is now. I haven't really seen any porta potties put out. Brooke, what's the update with the porta potties?
Good evening.
On Second Street.
I was going to say good evening, everyone. So this is what Nicholas sent me for updates. Can you hear me okay?
Sorry, yes.
Okay. He said that they have rented 3 porta toilets. They have been placed in North Main and 2nd Street, North Main and 3rd, and Berlin and Scampini. He said those toilets were placed there for people who were in the parts of the city most impacted by the flood. He said we installed the ice machine at the auditorium. It was placed for the people operating the shelter there and preparing meals. So that's the update I have from Nicholas regarding the porta potties and the ice machine.
Great. So we do have the ice machine at the shelter, and I'm making the assumption that the folks up at the shelter are the Red Cross folks. So they're all trained on like serve safe and whatnot. And that's all. We don't have to worry about contamination like we were before.
That's what I would assume as well. I could double check with them, but I mean, I feel like the Red Cross is running it up there and they're really on top of things. So I would say yes, but I can double check with Nicholas.
Okay, and how much longer are folks gonna be at the BOR?
That I don't have an answer to. I know as of yesterday, I think there was 14 people up there. Yeah, I mean, I truly don't know. And we're trying to talk about recreating the
Do you know what the status of those people was?
I do not.
Like, were
I-
any of them homeless going in before the flood, or were those
I think
people actually displaced?
I think it's been a mixture. I'm not sure about who's up there now. I know it's definitely been a mixture of when I've been up there and talking to people that it's a mixture of the homelessness people and people that have been displaced. Yeah. And I know like there's talk and we're trying to figure this out of like recreating the flood center that Barre had during Irene. So we're working on getting that going because I just joined, like I caught the end of what you were saying, Sam. And that is so true about like how, I don't know, I think we all kind of felt like we were getting a little of a respite, I guess, for I can't think of a better word, from like the homelessness, and it wasn't such an emergency since we had till April. However, now they're like with the rental units and everything, and there was no housing before, it's going to become a problem very quickly. A bigger problem. It's already a problem. A bigger problem.
It's going to be huge. And I know that, I mean, a lot of landlords just don't have flood insurance. Like the guy next to me doesn't have flood insurance. And I think that even if they do have flood insurance, that's a slow process. But the supply chain is so far backed up still.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm working on some new construction units, and even still, there's a delay to get materials for that. So, and now it's so widespread that I think we're looking at some serious delays, and that shelter might have to turn into warming shelters.
Yeah.
You know, like for the housed, for people that have housing, that have apartments, that have houses.
Exactly. No, I'm trying to think because I don't think I ever got a number. But I know like the city was going around and the FEMA people were going around, and we were trying to figure out like how many homes were lost in rental units. But I don't have that number.
There was, I don't know where, I think it might have been Vermont Digger, but it said over 100 rental units were on. Oh no, that's when they were the fire marshal was going through and they were yellow tagging them or green tagging them. There were over 100 units that were yellow. 100, I think it was 100 buildings that were yellow tagged. Was it buildings or units?
See, and I thought they were buildings. That's why I didn't have an answer about rentals.
Yeah, I think it might have been buildings. And so like in my building that was yellow tagged, 2 out of the 4 units are completely uninhabitable. So I think that if there's 100 buildings that are yellow tagged, you know, potentially we're looking at anywhere from 100 to 300 or 400 units. Hopefully not that high. Probably it's closer to the 150 to 200 range.
I'm scrolling through my emails now to see if I could find those numbers, but I really do believe it was homes and not apartments.
So I think this is gonna be like a big part of, I think we all have like a lot of questions just because, you know, there's been such a, I'm just going with what, you know, this basically a flood update because there's a lot of questions and folks are, you know, a lot of misinformation's out there about what's happening when the BOR is closing. The shelter, you know, all the shelters are full. And then, you know, it's August and it's gonna it's gonna get cold in October.
It's already cold. I mean, we're having an unseasonably cold summer.
So I think there's like, people are scrambling about what's gonna happen, because again, we have a mixture of folks at the BOR. We have folks that are working and we also have the folks that are homeless. So it's like, is the BOR gonna be open indefinitely, or is it what's gonna happen to the folks that are at the BOR?
I don't know if there's really an answer to that. But I mean, I can ask Nicholas, but I really don't think as of right now, we do have an answer.
And then I've had folks ask me if folks are going in the hotels, and the hotels are saying, they're doing 30% of the income for the hotels. And, that's for some, I did quick math for myself. And if my house was, flooded to the point that I couldn't live here, and, I had to go into the hotel situation, that's roughly, if I was to go to the Budget Inn, and on the hotel situation as it is, that's $1,600 for me to stay at a hotel for a month.
My
Plus-
tenant said that they were just required to pay, if they got flooded out, they were just required to pay 1 night per month, is what she told me.
1 night per month.
Is what she said, that she said that because she was there for the flood, she was told that they had to pay a self-pay night once per month.
And I think there is, sorry,
Go
No,
ahead.
I think that there's different rules because she was, flooded out versus that 30% number.
Mhm. And then not to mention, folks have to pay for their own food.
Right, which is a huge expense.
Right.
But I did see that that for some period of time, and I didn't see what the time frame was, but EBT was allowing hot foods because of the flood. And I don't know how widespread that message has been to let people know that, but I think that's going to be a huge help for a lot of these people that don't have cooking facilities right now.
So now here's my ask of the group. What can we do as a task force to help out? That's a huge ask. What can we do? I mean, Brooke, you mentioned back in Irene, we had the center that was supposed to be a place, a one-stop shop for folks.
Right.
But that only lasted a week because it lacked volunteers. And then it just became a phone bank for 211. So I'm just, how can we as a task force help out the situation?
So,
I mean,
I'm Joe, and can I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm new and I'm listening. And is there a way, is there a place homeless people can go to get all the information, about services that are available to them? Is there such a place they can go?
Currently at the moment, no, there is not. That's what Brooke was just talking about. Back in Irene, there was an idea of a hub. It was supposed to be a one-stop shop for this. And it fizzled out after a week.
Well, if we have a homeless problem here with or without the flood. So wouldn't it be a good idea to have a place that homeless people can go to get information? I do a lot of volunteer work for the church, the same church that Phil goes to. He and I both cook. Lately I've been doing more cooking, and we try we do all this stuff. Like we had this thing in place last week or the week before, and nobody showed up for free food. I don't know why that should be. So I'm just, I just mostly want to listen because I just want to get organized and find out how I can be of the most help in this task force. So I'll shut up.
There's no shutting up, and I think that's the problem, is that there's no way that all the information is being gathered in one space, because there's like there's a lot of information out there. So there's a lot of organizations out there. It's just not bundled together in one cohesive place.
And that there's a thought for something we could do that could be helpful. Figure out a way to do that. Yeah, I mean, most people have access to the internet these days too, so they could live potentially online, right? I mean, no one's really unable to access that. The other thought I had was like, has anyone gotten on figuring out something for people who've lost means of transportation? Because that could be a step, because I could see a lot of people who transportation's a way for them to maintain employment and therefore not fall into homelessness, and also is a home for a lot of people. So I don't know what that would look like, but I'm wondering if that's a piece of the puzzle that might potentially be getting overlooked or not.
So I have a question. So is this the place, the task force, this very task force? Do we figure out how to provide such an information place? What is our role here?
Our role is basically to provide advice, advise, look for troubleshooting, gather information, seek, we can actually do information gathering and a resource guide, if so be it, whatever that looks like, for or provide volunteers for resources.
If there, I mean, if it does seem like we want to like centralize information that we can easily hand out for people who want to, find out where to go get food, where to get various other resources, various other services, I could certainly help like build, website or something like that to put that together. I wouldn't necessarily have the knowledge about what should go in that resource exactly, but if that's something we're lacking, I can volunteer to do that part of the work.
So I have another question. So we would do that, like you said, build a website. Is our job also to take the information that we've learned and tell the city council about it, and aren't they the ones who actually take the concrete steps to make this stuff happen? This is, I guess, what I'm not clear on. Do we actually do stuff, or do we just advise the city council on what we've learned and what might be a good idea to do?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Clear as mud, right?
Okay.
So Brooke, what as the council liaison, how do you feel? Do you think that's something we could help with?
I think that would be great. I think that I think a website honestly would be amazing, for the fact that I was just scrolling through my emails and I mean, so many of like Enough Ministries is doing this, the Green Mountain United Way is doing this, like there's so many different people doing different things. And I think and when I'm still like thinking about too, like how can we advocate for the homelessness people, population as we go through this. And I think like, for me, we were having summits, they were called summits between like Montpelier, Berlin, and Barre. And I think those should be starting back up because I mean, this has created a whole nother crisis again. And so I think we should be preparing for that. Cause I mean, I think, people can couch surf for like a week or two, but then, they kind of run out of people they can couch surf with. And, the options do run out. And then what, it's going to be freezing and nowhere, like all the hotels are full. So just thinking about like all of this, if any of that makes sense, like you just said, clear mud, and I chuckled to myself, even though I wasn't on speaker. I just feel like there's so much to do, but then it's not organized, and it's getting it organized would be the best starting point, I guess.
So if,
oh, sorry.
go ahead, no, go ahead, Sam, and then I'll speak.
So I know that Renita Marshall was kind of doing a lot of the volunteer coordination and kind of keeping track of a lot of stuff. I bet she would be a great resource because she probably has kind of the list of what everybody's doing and where those meals are at, because she was down at where was it, the library or Courier Park or wherever they were, kind of their central hub was to get all that stuff together. But she was coordinating quite a few efforts, so she may have kind of a list already compiled.
So this is what I'm thinking is, I know Renita is also on the housing task force. I may have that wrong.
Yeah, she's not on the housing task force. Well, she did the all-in for Barre stuff, yes, but she's not regularly attending. Well, maybe, I don't know. She's not regularly attending the task force meetings that I'm attending.
Okay.
I don't know if they're separate, if what kind of her chunk of was doing, but.
Right, and then there's also Sean at the RBCC.
Yep.
And excuse me, there's also, there's stuff going on in Montpelier, and there's stuff going on at the churches. And with Jeremy's know-how, I could send out, I'm not, believe it or not, I'm not great at like organizing and tech savvy stuff, but it sounds like if we could get all these heads together, and with Jeremy's know-how, we could probably get a place together where we could get we could organize this in a cohesive fashion, have a think tank with Renita and Sean and the churches, and put it all together. And then once it's all together, once the summits start, we could say, hey, heads up, this summit's starting, or hey, heads up, this is happening. So it sounds like I need to send out an email to Renita and blah, blah, and just get like a giant Zoom call so we can get all this started, and then have, I'm losing words now, but a centralized hub.
Right. And I
get
think,
that.
yeah, I think Raylene was also helping her with that. Raylene,
Yeah, I know Raylene.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And they both have pretty good platforms to get information out there.
Okay.
Renita's got her foundation, and then Raylene on Aired Out. So they both have really good platforms to be able to disseminate information widely.
Okay. So Sam, so this is where I'm going to do, Sam, if you think of anybody within like the next 12 to 13 hours, just shoot me an email, and then in the morning I'll shoot an email to everybody. And because I have no life for the next 4 days, because I'm taking a mini vacation. I'll send an email to everybody and include Brooke and Jeremy, and then get everybody together and try to like come up with a time that we could all meet for like an hour or 2 hours, and then get a Zoom call going or have coffee somewhere. And then we can get this going, because I think no matter what, flood, no flood, winter, no, we need to get this going. I think this is a great idea rather than have a paper copy just something that we can all hack into. That's the only AT word I really know. And we,
Just out of curiosity, how many people are we looking at here?
no more than like, for information people,
Yeah,
maybe 6.
okay, cool. Just don't want it to spiral out of control, because then it turns into, these things I have a tendency of turning into long discussions about, getting everybody's little particularities, what color font to use and all that shit.
Right now. Yeah, right now I'm just looking at getting everybody's mind meld and getting lists.
Yeah, cool.
I'm not looking at fonts and colors. I'm looking at what do you know, and can you just do a brain dump? That's all I'm looking at.
Okay, cool.
And also, guys, like I'm part of the Thrive meetings. So, and we're meeting like every few days right now to go over what's being provided. So I could also share that with everybody as well and go from there.
Right. No, and again, I'm not looking at, let's make this pretty as all heck. I'm looking at, let's get some resources out there for folks in organized fashion in the Barre, Montpelier area. I don't want to go beyond that.
Yeah, and something like the focus, I feel like we would want it to be on something that's a resource that people can quickly go to, understand easily, and then find out where to go or who to contact for their needs.
Yeah,
Does
go ahead, Sam.
Oh, I was just gonna say, does Montpelier have a separate shelter? Do they
No,
have their own emergency shelter? So the Montpelier people are at the BOR as well?
correct.
Okay, because it does seem like the response is a little different from Barre to Montpelier. So I just didn't know if there was, I guess Montpelier's just dumping their problem on us right now, but
Right, and it's
didn't know if there was a better, if if they already had a system in place or there was some sort of something there.
no. So another way in Montpelier is also taking some of Barre folks, and also, saying if the Rainbow Bridge is doing a lot of work, I'm really, commending them a lot because they're doing a lot. They're trading resources, so to speak, and just doing, taking our folks and providing transportation for folks that need to go back and forth as well. So Montpelier is helping, and I know Rick is really, Rick DeAngelis, I don't need to just do first names, but Rick DeAngelis is really, really worried about the upcoming months, as we all should be. But they're doing, like we all are, we're doing the best we can with what we can. All right, that was a really long discussion. The next agenda item is winter sheltering. Yeah, as Sam pointed out, it's getting cold. Are there any talks about what's going to happen? I mean, we are looking at other ways of homelessness. I know Rick DeAngelis and the Good Sam folks are looking at another shelter, but are there any talks coming up about a warming shelter this year, or is the library going to be it, or what's happening with warming shelters? Anything?
No, but I was kind of under the impression that there was a time limit on the FEMA shelter on the BOR, because once the disaster declaration, I don't know if there's a 60-day or whatever amount of time after the disaster declaration, like that it goes into effect. I'm just concerned that the BOR is going to have to shut down at some point. because it's federally funded, and there needs to be some sort of stopgap measure in place, because I honestly don't believe that some of these people are going to get into their homes before Christmas. I mean, looking at some of the damages of these properties, it will take that long.
I'm gonna pull Brooke into the spotlight. Have you heard anything, Brooke?
I've not. And that's why, like, I feel like that is a good place. And I also thought, for some reason, like with all of our conversations with the warming shelter last year, that was something that the city was just gonna plan on going in the future.
With
But
the
now that you
library?
bring, yeah, but now, you know, like with Lauren leaving and stuff, I don't know. So I think we definitely should follow up on that sooner than later. Because I know, and it's just, yeah. I was just gonna say, it is just hard, like, when do we present it to the council? Because like 1 year we did it and they're like, well, why didn't you come to us before? And then last year we did it earlier, I feel like, and then they're like, well, how do you know? And you know, like, I feel like either way, we got a lot of pushback from the council. And but I think if we start planning now, I think that's very important. And I know, like, if you look at numbers, we don't always get like these huge amount of numbers, but there are people that are coming in and looking for help and getting warm and, you know, just being warm and charging their phones.
Right, I
So,
know that, I know Garrett is the director right now, but that's just interim. So would that email come from you, Brooke, or would that email come from me to Nicholas?
I can send it to Nicholas.
All right,
I will do that. Do you want me just to CC you on it?
that'd be great. That way I can put it on the agenda that we have a follow-up about that.
Okay,
That'd be
doing it,
awesome.
doing it now.
All right. Well, we went speedily along in the agenda. Is there anything else? I'm gonna just go to roundtable. Is there anything else off topic that people want? I know we are all really worried about what's happening with the folks. Anything burning, yearning. I know this is a worrisome topic. Or we can end early for once. I see a lot of smiles for that. So, anything off topic? I'm gonna pressure on, no?
I'm just concerned about meeting only once a month, given the fact that we're headed into fall and we now have hundreds of people, new people, some of which have never been without a home before, suddenly without a home or living in a home that is substandard or unstable right now, that doesn't have heat, that doesn't have hot water, that doesn't have, I mean, I know that it took 8 days for me to get hot water back to my tenants, and I was on top of it. I literally cut a hot water heater out of a different property just to bring it to that property so that my tenants could have hot water. I know that other landlords definitely, are not either willing or able to do that to make it happen. So I'm just concerned about an entire new wave of people that, are going without, and we're not even realizing it. And it's going to hit the fan really, really fast.
Okay, so I have talked to Nicholas about us meeting more than once. Or as long as the meetings are properly warned, we can do that. But I do have to say that if the meetings are properly warned, that means I have to get the agendas out to a week ahead of time for them to be properly warned. And I have to say, and this is me and totally on me, I'm not sometimes the most organized person, and sometimes I don't get the agendas out. So if I can have somebody that nags me, and I use that in the most polite term, because I need that person that's on top of what sometimes I need an organization person. Then
Yeah.
we can meet more than once. I see Joe.
I would help.
What I would love is that I get to see some of you people on this committee outside of this meeting. Like, go out for a cup of coffee. I'd love to meet you guys in person and we can talk about this stuff. I don't know if we need to have a meeting more than once a month. If we're just meeting and just, it can be, I hate to use the word fun, but it could really be something that we enjoy doing. Meeting, like going to Cafe Bueno and having a cup of coffee and talking about whatever we want to. Like me, I have a ton of questions, and I would love to get this to meet you guys in person and ask those questions and learn. So I guess that was my contribution to this meeting.
So, Joe, that sounds like a spectacular idea. Email a bunch of us, and I'm sure we can come up with a date to do that. I know Jeremy's new in town. Sorry, I just outed you.
It's all good.
So yeah, I'm sure we can come up with a date. And I love Cafe Bueno. So totally, let's do that. Email.
I love coffee.
It is the liquid of life.
Yes.
Absolutely. And
I
Erica,
have-
I could help send you, and we'd never say neg you, gentle reminders and work with you in doing the agenda stuff.
Yeah. So yes to all of that. Let's do it. I mean, like, some of the reasons I say nag because I need that. But yeah, Joe, set those coffee dates up. Brooke, please send me gentle reminders. And then I have my to-do list to email some people and get some dates together. And Jeremy and I will get some resource lists. And it might actually be a fun coffee date to do a brain dump.
Yeah.
So let's do this. So I am going to, if that's everything, let's end early. One of the ideas I have for the next agenda is probably having some guests come on and see what their burning, yearning needs are for what they're seeing in the trenches, because there's a lot of folks doing some good work and we want to support that. So yeah, I'm gonna end early and let you folks get back to what you are doing. And thank you all for all your hard work and your continuing hard work on this.
Thank
Thank you all. Have a great
Thank you,
evening.
Erica.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.